one of the lovely ways of doing it is baby wearing. So whether or not it's something you're interested in, we'll have you play with it and just sort of show you some ways. But it's very, very simulating their quite often joke and call it the fourth trimester, because we are trying to replicate that womb-like environment for approximately another 3 months for baby before they sort of start transitioning more into being a little bit more independent as far as their mannerisms and what they can do. I'll start off with the safety warning. So this one here isn't one, but it's the closest I've got to demonstrate. If you are buying second-hand any sort of baby wearing items, so the backpacks, etc., you're going to want to check that the fabric's all in really good condition, no pulls, no tears, and if you're buying ring slings or anything, you want to check the rings are in really good condition and what's holding the rings there has also got no fraying. And also if you've got ones with buckles, which I'll show you one of those in a minute, the buckles are still in really good condition. But something you want to avoid at all costs is bag slings. Now bag slings are banned in just about every other country but New Zealand.
What about bag slings?
Now bag slings are very similar to this, but just isn't one. And it's each side sits up like that, and so it looks like a handbag. Baby gets placed. I'm going to pretend this is baby. Baby gets placed in it, and what happens with both the sides up. And also, it's the whole point of all these, I'll say proper baby wearing, but when my kids go to school, there's a very strong Balinese culture, and there's a big community of them down there, and there's tablecloths and sheets and whatever they grab going out the door has been used for babies. So I sort of think we can be a bit elitist about having to have branded stuff. It is just about the stretchy bit of fabric normally. But yeah, you end up with baby being airways getting compressed. But they're all about keeping you ergonomically, supporting you rather than just your arms rocking the baby. And so with bag slings, they literally go like this. And then you just have baby rocking along in front of you as you walk. And you can see how the compression happens. So there is a website called Bag Slings Be Gone.
It's not really good for mum either.
No, I was going to say, I couldn't imagine anything worse. So pretty much most people stop using bag slings just because they are so incredibly uncomfortable, and most people will see babies, but there have been deaths in bag slings.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's why they're just such a no. And Bag Slings Be Gone is a website, and it's run by Sling Babies, which are a not-for-profit group. But they've got every single bag sling they come across, they take a photo of. So you can check on TradeMe, because a lot come out of China, etc., that are placed directly on TradeMe that you just want to be really, really careful of. This is what a lot of people do. So,
I've had Chris wearing his one.
I'm going to get him play those these in a minute, so you can show us.
I don't know, I never put it on.
I tried it.
So, this is just the Moby brand. You can have pretty much any brand. For it is just a long, they're normally about 3 to 4 metres of stretchy fabric, or you can have a woven version which is non-stretchy. The woven ones are slightly better in summer because it's a bit cooler. But most of them have got a tag marking where the middle mark is. And you fold it down in half and pop that little middle bit there.
You go on YouTube, it gives you step by step.
I was going to say, honestly, there's something far too much time on your hands, and there's actually a Moby channel.
Yeah.
So, which is really scary. But so, once you've got it round, you're going to cross it back, and then you bring it up over your shoulders. If you're wearing a skirt, be so careful. This is a voice of experience talking, realising what I've done. So cross in the front. Now this looks really complicated. Once you've learned to tie one, you just don't forget how to do it.
I used to tie it on me and then drive to the shops.
Yeah, so you're not standing in a car park doing this.
No, yeah. So then you're just putting your baby in
And then you
there.
just put the baby. So cross down front, you put it through that front bit. And then tie it again. So you can see why it's meters and meters of fabric. This one's the one that talks, so it's probably going to make all sorts of noises. But so the way you put them in, and it's the same with any of these, is the bit closest to you is the first bit baby goes in. So you're going to put it over the opposite shoulder. You're going to guide the leg in. And you're going to just spread that out a bit.
A foot trouble there,
It's cool if there was a dog, unfortunately. And then other foot, and obviously you wouldn't bend baby's leg quite like that. Okay, and then baby sort of supported there. So those here have opened up, supported baby's bottom and your back. With a newborn, you're going to want to just tilt your head slightly and you get supported like that. And then you grab that bit that went round the front, bring that up. And then if you've got enough material, I always like to tie it just there again. And then just gave me a little bit of extra support. But the thing with any of the baby wearing is close enough to kiss. So if baby's close enough to kiss, you've got to keep a good eye on them. But it's also that skin to skin we spoke about, so baby is actually on your chest. Really, really comforting. If you've got baby that just is crying or a bit colicky and just not sure what it wants to do with itself, sometimes it can just relax them completely just to be close, that heartbeat. And also dads, rock them into one of these and go for a walk around the block. It's good for your soul. It's good for your
You
soul.
go around doing whatever you want.
It is. It's there. I shouldn't say this because I probably did 1,000 things blanket would smack me in my hands for. But especially once you've got other children too.
You can turn them around too, that's the other
When they're older.
When they're
Yeah, I
older.
was going to say, how big can you get them?
Yeah, well, it depends. Generally, you sort of don't want to turn them around until they can sit unsupported by themselves. And that's to do with their neck. It can also be quite overwhelming for them. So tune in to mum.
Especially if you're on the
dad.
motorbike or something.
Yeah, just spitting bugs out. Especially, you know, the young tune into mum, they're sort of cocooned and they're safe. Like they can look out and see what they want to see, but they can turn back in and away from it. When they're facing out, it's like coming at them, and you can sort of see how it can be a wee bit overwhelming. That what's all these people, what are they doing? So that's a plain old movie. Oh, and you would take baby out before you untie them, obvious reasons. And people would also ask about baby falling out, and because they are so close to you, you would feel it within a second if baby was slipping. And pretty much people have baby worn for absolutely millennia. It's
Yeah,
just
those
that
things are the Chinese and
that we've only just caught up.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a really good idea. Why on earth have we not been doing it? So pretty much the ones that Victorians didn't muck around with
Yeah.
are all good. So that's a basis starter, and then you can go into something like this, which is called a structured carry.
Did you watch that one where it was on Fair Go? About a particular one, and it was a rip-off from China and the buckle would come right off.
So I do always say, I'm not going to talk about train me or anything else because you can find, you know, good valuable ones still on there. Just always double check what you're getting.
No, your brand, isn't it?
Yeah. So that will. So then you're just going to want it nice and tight. You'll see on the spring here it's got an extra little ditty. Where is it? Yeah. So that's just a little safe mechanism. So when baby's older, and if they push their feet down on it, I've got to actually push that to get the buckle under. With the stage group, we will be forward facing, facing in, and this brand in particular has got a what's known as a newborn insert, and so the easiest way to put a newborn is to sit down and put the cushion in, and place baby in, and this baby's a very, very little baby.
Very compliant, not wriggling.
I was going to say,
It's a good child.
because it lost its foot, probably doing not took this one.
Yeah.
And then someone's playing with it. So bring it up like a backpack. Support baby up into there. So you can either wear it like that, or when babies are quite little and you want to move it more secure, it's easier to get somebody else to help you do this.
So,
But you
what,
can put it
quite
into a box.
sincerely, the old fashioned way is by far better.
So,
I found mine on Trade Me, and it was a lady made it. She just got a big piece of material, and I just went to the middle of it, sewed a button on, so I knew where the middle was,
Yeah.
because that's got a tag and it works. The
exactly.
same as that.
So that sort of
And
one
half
is only sort of weight rated to about a year of age. So if you're wanting to baby wear long term, so you're going to want to get something more structured. But pretty much I wouldn't go over and get something more structured until you knew you were planning on going trend.
Would you recommend the Phil and Ted's or the Kathmandu?
Not the baby metal structured ones.
You know the ones I've got now that are.
I don't know. I know the big metal structured ones, and those ones aren't recommended because they can actually cause a lot of swelling.
Yeah,
Which
no,
is-
they're not they're
You know what I mean, the big rigid ones.
No,
Um,
the ones I've seen hasn't had metal.
Okay. So the most important thing with any of these that you do, no matter what brand, is you want them to keep baby in sort of an M position with their hips. So you want their hips slightly higher than their crotch, so they sort of sit in an M shape, and that's actually keeping your hips in the right position. So the baby bajorns and the other little front carriers, they've got really narrow little crotch in the middle. They actually end up with babies legs swinging like this, and they can actually pull their hips out. So that's why it's really important to get the ones that've got the nice wide bit in them. But I'm going to give you guys a baby.
That looks like it zips. Does it zip smaller?
Yeah, so that can bring that rise
Oh,
down. So it depends what you want. I mean, I can still put my 6-year-old with this one here on my back. So yeah, halfway up central New Zealand when they sit down and say they're not going any further. It's a little bit easier than
Caitlin getting in there?
You put your 6-year-old in there.
yeah, he's not that big though. What is it? He's 20 kilos.
Have you ever just tried leaving them behind? They usually catch up.
He's my stubborn, but I just tried that and
Is that your Jake?
no, that's my Cody. No, my Jake's already way up the top there going,
Oh, so
you're right, Mum.
Imagine you could fit Jake in there.
Yeah, you would fit our Jack.
So I'll give him a footless baby.
Get the cloth in
And
there. Oh, yeah. Oh, you've got this one.
I'll have that one first, then we'll switch around.
Oh,
Oh, you make the baby cry. So have a wee play.
Lucky way to turn it on.
So you guys want to replay with that one?
good luck. You're right.
Yeah, Tanya's going to tie you up.
Extend it.
Remember how to do this.
Right.
You should have got the stretchy one.
I know. I've watched.
Yeah.
It's round.
Then cross it over.
Yeah.
Sling it over your shoulders.
It's still got tied at the back.
It's still tied, yeah.
Undo that bit.
And that was the trick.
And that was across.
Put it down.
That was
No,
round.
no.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yeah, I would have let him drop it.
Should have had that done at first, though. I think.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, I do.
The difference,
You
that's
know
the
that
difference
so
between me and Prue.
It'd be a lot easier if it was done with
Him tied on the front.
Baby goes.
Yeah.
buckles and all sorts, something you have to do either inside out, that's fine.
So you can either do it like that in the backpack as you've done and just put the shoulders over,
Yeah.
or if you've got someone else with you, it takes a wee while to learn to do
Like
this
a
crisscross.
crossover, so it feels a bit more supportive.
Yeah,
He's got a buckle across it to back.
Oh, okay.
and you can get someone else to.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can
Pad
you?
pumps are adjustable, so you can bring it up a bit higher and slide it back down.
Yeah.
Well, watch it and you'll rip it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it just slides.
Oh, yeah.
So let's
That just should be
across your
tight,
back.
so that's
Yeah, well,
Try to
Yeah.
get around
The other
like
way.
this too, there is a little
Like
pieces
your
too.
training back.
That's all right.
As they get
No, it's
older and bigger and tired, that you can bring that out.
the way to tighten it is over this way.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
And then that way will probably.
oh, yeah.
So
that's true.
more when they're older, yeah, they do that. One beautifully tucked in babies.
Yeah, we're one of those. Not
You
that
want to
sort
do
of
this?
thing,
It's just silly.
There you go.
I like it
Yeah,
because you
the
fit it in
tube
there.
that-
That's it, here.
I do quite like this. I think we should get this
I think it was soft. Yeah, you're not going to say it's soft, it's not. Alright.
Might be like that. I reckon that's cool.
Shit with the bits.
You could get two of them.
So we'll do a switcheroo.
We get all our kids, we get the two teddies, so that then when one goes missing, the cover.
You have done.
Yeah, I'll get put on
So that's the other thing to remember too with baby wearing as well, is it's an extra layer of clothing for you, it's an extra layer of clothing for baby. So just to factor that in when you get dressed.
It's good enough to.
Yeah, that's lovely winter, and that's a woven one, very similar to the Moby. It's great in summertime.
So you can put this on. Quite good.
Whoops.
It's fabric like this.
Oh, look after the baby. See, I'm better than you.
It's right out.
Well, good on, baby. It's all right.
Just make sure those are crossed.
Good parenting skills.
Tie behind. So is it quite safe to
Test the
tie it behind
coordination.
one? You don't knot it or anything?
I do say practice this a few times at home.
You might-
Well, it seems to have worked.
Is it tight enough around the front?
I don't know yet.
Probably need to.
As you're going to tie them, you sort of do it tighter than you think you're going to need, and then it sort of
Loosen it up.
loosen it up. But it's harder to tighten it than it is to loosen it out a bit.
Under that one first.
Well done.
You're giving me the baby.
Swing it over each shoulder.
No, you've got to sling it over your shoulder.
There's a clip on the top of your
Yeah,
your
it's a
back.
clip.
Yeah, we're just going to have to
Yeah.
I don't like this.
No, it's a personal
It
choice.
feels,
and
so much like those better. Because that you can stretch the material to disperse the whole weight.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
also
shoulder.
long.
No, I think your legs are supposed to be.
You won't get your 6-year-old in
Take it
that.
up to.
That one.
We don't carry six. Caitlin, you couldn't. Our girl's probably 27 or 28.
Yeah, you don't get it.
What? What's the mean?
Is that one
Oh,
coming out
Sam's nearly up.
No,
Last time I weighed her, no, last time I weighed her, she was 25. And that was a while ago.
Close enough to guess? Definitely. Wonderful. So,
like that? Does it feel safe? I don't know.
Yes?
obviously,
They
gently,
do.
if I'm going to make 10, you can always do a bit of a jiggle.
Like Paul, it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
So,
This
I
is
would
probably
just-
the more important one. Is it going down?
yeah, so I would just pull that
Right out.
more up like that just to support your back a little bit more, but wonderful. And like I said,
They
there's
do
people,
feel safe when you got
Yeah.
good enough.
and it actually just feels nice having the baby snuggled up there. I always just found it, it's a lovely way of reconnecting too. Sometimes when you're a wee bit stressed with things, to just sort of tie baby on and just get out in fresh air sometimes. It's really helpful. So, lovely. I'll take Freaky Baby.
I had my own scripture.
How much would one of these, something like this, cost?
Ranges from homemade ones, like go on to Spotlight and just need some stretching.
I walked in
So,
amongst
yeah,
the
it's pretty
grapes.
safe.
Yeah.
Very Nicola.
You just wanted to make it as nice and thick
Yeah.
and supported. All the way down to, you can get really fancy bolted printed ones that are like $300. Moby is 60.
I got mine for 30.
Yeah, so trade me.
Mine's a black and white stripe.
So lots of different bits. So finally tonight, hot nappies. I know Tania's a wee bit of a pro here, so you can share any of your tips too, it'd be lovely. But you can still get them, but pretty much the days of remembering strange little origami fold and pins and things are long gone. But if you can remember the origami fold, well done.
The big square ones are just great for mopping up spews and
Or
mopping up
we'll talk about a pocket in a minute, they're great for using in pocket inserts, but under baby sheets in the bed, so, and really good car polishers apparently too. Each time I'm looking for my ones, I find them up by the jag, and it's like,
The ones that got the other stain in our linen cupboard is cleaning cloths.
super absorbent one.
Yes.
So most people that are going to use cloth nappies now use what's known as modern cloth nappies. So there's lots of different types, but the absolute basic starting point is what's called a pre-fold, which is very, very similar to the big old flanny flats, except for it's got the little ridges sewn them up, 1, 2, and then you put it into a separate waterproof cover. It does sit nice for a baby because I've got the wrong size with the wrong size here, but a little tip too with these is if you've got a wee boy, put a little bit of extra padding at the front. If you've got a wee girl, spin it around that way. Just to do with the directional aim of where it pulls through heaven. So that is your most cost effective starting point, is for every 6 of those inserts you have, the pre-folds, you need about 3 covers. You only have to change the inside if it's wet. If it's soiled, you change the whole lot after about 3 changes, so the cover begins to smell. So that is your absorbent part, and that's a separate waterproof.
Then you can put the line around to catch them.
So to make your life a little bit easier, disposable, flushable liners that you pop in here, and so if they're just wet, you can wash them with your nappies. They normally last about 2-3 washes before they start to fall apart. If they're soiled, obviously do what they're made to do, lift them up, flush them away, and it just sort of saves you a little bit of scrubbing. So other than your pre-folds and covers, you have something called an all-in-one, which is just one nappy that you are going to place on baby. So it's got your waterproofing and your absorbency all in one.
You should have got one of those in your pack.
I'll say you should have got one of these anyway. But benefits of these are it's just one piece you're putting onto baby, and it is just one piece to wash and dry, one piece to stack. The downside is, especially having winter babies, that they do take a long time to dry because they are thicker and all in one, whereas the covers, etc., because you're opening it up into a nice big square, it dries really well. Also being winter babies, frost are the best thing ever to get stains out of nappies. If you put your nappies out overnight and let the frost settle, because they all come back in white.
Yeah, really.
The sun does that too. But
Yeah.
you know, the frost is
The
that.
frost is a wonderful little thing, so
Mm.
you can thank my nana for that. She told me that trick, but it does actually work. So,
And it would kill bacteria?
yes, yeah, so UV light is the main thing we use to sterilise.
But what about frost would kill bacteria too, or not enough?
I don't think we're enough, no. As I say, it's more letting the frost settle in, the sun comes out, melts the frost. You sort of have that 2 whammy type thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think the frost would be enough to sterilise it like UV light. So you've got size the nappies too, so you can buy a newborn, a small, a medium and large, or you can get something called one size fits most. So one size fits most means that it adjusts. Although it says one size fits most, it's sort of they say newborn to toilet training. Obviously if your child is toilet trained till it sits, it's not going to fit them. So that's sort of meaning, you know, from baby through to about 2, 2.5 is sort of where the weight range is.
Although Jake's, my son's 4, he'd still fit them.
Yeah, it's one of those completely child dependent thing. I mean, you'll probably find that buying t-shirts too, that it makes that fits a 2-year-old, but your 4-year-old.
And on the thighs sometimes, how skinny their waist is.
So that's something lovely about this breed in particular. It's got these lovely wee gussets. That means that they just sit tighter on the legs or more cosy on the legs, and so especially those early breastfed only Prues stay in there, which is where we want them to stay. Not down the legs or the trousers. No, not up the back. So the one size fits most. It's got an adjustable rise on it, so that's what adjusts it up and down. And it's smallest, so that's at its largest setting, and obviously it's here, so out here on your larger setting, so you can see it's actually quite a decent sized nappy. And its smallest, you bring the bottom dome up to the top dome. And obviously that here wraps it around. can see that that's still going to be quite bulky
Mm.
on a little newborn. So I would personally recommend those for being about 4 weeks onwards, once those fits most, so using something else prior to that. There are nappy high kits available, so there's a network here and a few other places to do that, and it's where it's a whole ton of different nappy you can just try and play around with. The other type of insert is, so again, it's a one-piece set pushing onto baby, but it's got something called snapping or popping. And so that's a separate insert that comes out. So you can just change that, but it's the same as pre-folding covers, just slightly more technical looking. And you can just change that bit in and out again if it's soiled.
And can you get liners separately?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, so you can buy extras of those.
And you can buy night ones to go with that too.
Okay.
Yeah, these are actually really, did you use these?
I've got one at home.
Yeah.
I've got a pink one.
Yeah. So, pass that one there on. And then the other style is what's known as pocket. So the benefits of those two are that you're putting them on in one piece, but it dries faster because you split it up. But the cons of it is the laundry that you're having to put them together before you use. Pockets are named pockets because simply they have a pocket in the nappy, which is where you put your absorbency. So most nappies have got a one-way system against baby that just wicks the moisture straight to the insert and then waterproof on the back. This brand here in particular has got some wool as an additional, so these make a really good night nappy, having the wool layer on it as well. But that's where you put an insert, or you put one of those pre-folds, or pretty much anything absorbent right down to a hand towel if you get stuff. I was going to say some of us would get a bit to doing that. And just in like that. And then it's one piece that you're fitting on that. But you do have to change the whole thing each time with the pocket. So you can't
And you
just
have
pull the
to-
middle out
Cool.
and take it apart to wash and dry. But again, it washes and dries quickly because you are taking it into two.
What's that bit at the back for?
That is, if you fold the little Velcros over onto it to wash it,
And
it
it won't
saves
be
it getting all
everything
bitty
else
bitty.
stuck to it.
So it's got
That is handy, isn't it?
Yes. So, or they don't end up attached to soft or something else. So, if with cloth nappies, you don't soak them. So a lot of us remember buckets and soaking them in nappy sand and everything else. Not necessary. And if anything, with modern cloth nappies, the material used PUL will actually break down if you soak them, and so will the elastic. So all we say to do is to dry, get a bucket with a lid. Always have a lid on buckets with wee kids, but just a dry bucket. Some of us choose to put a couple of drops of tea tree oil in it or something just for a bit of a smell factor. And then you just put your nappies into there until wash day. So obviously tip solids off or flush solids away, give them a rinse and put them into the bucket. You're not really going to want to leave them in the bucket longer than 2 days. Because you open the lid and go, wow, but also it's that breaking down pack that you don't want to do. And then you're just going to give them a rinse in the machine and then just a normal machine wash. What sterilises the nappies is that UV light. That's what we rely on to do it. In New Zealand we have far too much UV light, as most of us know. And so just getting it out in the sunlight for about 1 to 2 hours is enough to actually sterilise the nappies. Again, some people choose to put a wee bit of tea tree oil into the wash cycle because that's natural antibacterial, antifungal. But a lot of the nappies are actually made with materials now that are actually antibacterial, antifungal. So hemp, for example, is naturally antibacterial, antifungal, and so is bamboo. And so a lot of these nappies, like the poppin, the inserts are actually bamboo, and that's why they're made with that.
These are very cute.
And that's the other side of cloth nappies, is you can go
They suck in.
Yeah.
Keep it poor, those
completely
things.
utilitarian and go, right, they're made for catching or they're made for catching.
But you get such cute ones out.
And I didn't understand it until I had a little girl that I could put in a pinafore and she had this cute little fluffy bum hanging out the back. And that was when I got sucked in. But it was the boys, I was a little bit more utilitarian about it, but it was just a this little fluffy, cute little girl thing that got me. So there you go. But yeah, so you can just start with the absolute basics, start with the basics, and then you can move through. There are ridiculous ones on the market that are at this horrific price. But I can stand back and look at the craftsmanship of them and go, actually, there's a lot of work gone into them. They're almost works of art rather than nappies. You want roughly the amount of nappies you want depends on how often you want to wash. So when you think newborn, you're going to use about 10 nappies a day. You're going to want about 20 nappies to wash every 2 days. That fluctuates between baby to baby too. So if you're using covers and pre-folds, you're going to want about 6 covers and you're going to want about 18 of the pre-folds to give you about a 2-day sort of play around. They will say to you, let's do on our money. If you choose to use disposables, you choose to use disposables and that's fine. I personally subscribe to the one green nappy thing, and it's about that just every single person, so that's why you all got given one. But if just every single baby used one nappy once a week, that's 52 nappies a year that aren't landing in a landfill, and it's easy to wash just one nappy. So personal choice for all of them, but it's Green Party has done. I'm not an affiliate of Green Party, I'll put that out there. But they've done the absolute best cost analysis I've ever seen done, right down to the time, the power, and they even went from using soap nuts all the way through to the most expensive Persil, and so to washing powder types. They did the lot, and still it was saving about $3,000 a year. So, and they also factored in your cheap utilitarian nappies all the way through to much more expensive ones. So on average you are going to spend about $200 to $500 setting up with cloth nappies, but once you've paid that set up, it's fine. And for a lot of people, baby showers are a good time to say to people, get me a nappy, or to just those last 10 or so weeks, just buy one nappy a week. And even if you've only got a few to start off with, and just slowly build it up if it's something you want to do. And what's your best? What do you enjoy? What type do you enjoy using the most? Or
The all-in-one.
the all-in-one?
I have had pockets,
Yeah.
and that was fine when it was Caitlin, because I had the time. But there's number 5. I've got lots of washing. I want to take the nappy off, throw it in the wash, and get it out. I don't want to have to assemble it.
Yeah.
I just want to put it on the baby.
Yep.
So for me, all-in-ones. Yeah.
And they definitely hungry. So they definitely fit and use very similar to disposable. And if you read the fine print on disposable nappies, it actually tells you you're supposed to be taking the solids down the toilet.
Yes, you are actually.
And no one actually reads that on the side of a disposable packet. Everyone just sort of rolls it up and sticks it on the bun. So.
The disposable nappy.
Just on the line of disposable and reusable. Reusable white is I've been looking at that.
Because it's not
the
supposed to stay
experience
with
with using those rather than the
I-
baby wipes.
I found them fine at home.
Yeah.
A lot of people do have wee Ziploc bag
Yeah.
that they'll pre-wet them and then take them out that way.
Yeah.
I'll be honest and say I was lazy enough to have just the disposable ones out and about, but at home definitely, and then I'll just put them in the bucket with the nappies.
Yeah, that's
to
what
wash
it
them.
is. Yeah.
So
Why do you have to? What is it about tipping the solids out of the disposables?
human waste should always go through a treatment facility, and so by just putting it in the rubbish bin, it's not being treated. It's just going and sitting as raw human waste
Right.
in a rubbish dump that isn't actually.
With all the
Zoned.
other rubbish.
Yeah, it isn't.
So it's
zoned.
actually, this is purely back to their bullshit bloody laws, half of it, really.
Sorry.
No, I'm just getting rattled now again because this is just sounding PC to me again.
Oh.
So it's not particularly anything more than that somebody has decided that human waste should go through a treatment facility and that other rubbish, because there must be some feral stuff that goes into landfill, so more than human waste, I would think.
Yeah.
It's more toxic.
It's also the fact that it's wrapped in a plastic setting that is going to be there in, I can't even remember how many years now it takes
Over
disposable
300.
nappy to break down.
Yeah, and that's fine, you would almost think it might help it break down.
Bit of additional composting going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, there is composting.
Sorry, I just
No,
get
no.
rattled, yeah.
I know I do actually understand where you're going from. It's not a law or a policy or anything else. It's actually just to do with health and that we're endangering other people by our choices of, because people do it here. They'll leave a dirty, grotty nappy
Right.
and I will put my hand in the bin to empty and not know it's there. And,
Right.
and so it's about that. It's about, our rubbish men
Yeah,
aren't
okay,
paid
so
enough
it's
to deal with
more
what
to,
they deal with. And
it's more to do with,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's a health thing. I mean, you're talking.
So it's not to do with your own wheelie bin at home really, or it's more to do with public.
The grand scheme of,
Yeah.
human waste. I mean, you wouldn't accept the hospital dumping amputated arms out on the roadside.
No, but that's a little bit extreme.
But you're getting where I'm meaning with the bodily.
Yeah, sort of, but I mean, a couple of hundred years ago there was no toilet, so, they would have been just jumping under a tree somewhere.
But we also had high rates of hepatitis and high rates of a lot of other diseases associated with that, which we've countered by, having these systems in place. And
That's why they put babies in car seats and not just lay them in a basket in the back seat. They worked out what happened.
That was alright in your horse and car, it didn't matter.
No, but they
You
worked
tried to
out
go
what
with the
happens.
those bassinets with the bungee cord that just hooked over the back seat, those are scary. But no, I see what you mean, but no, it's not any policy or anything else.
Right,
It's just
okay.
about, and I just actually point that out just for the fact that people go, oh yeah, but it's disposable, I just roll it up, I stick it in the bin, and I don't have to think about it anymore. And really, you are supposed to be tipping those solids down the toilet to flush them to be treated through the sewage system like human waste.
You're only actually tipping down what will come off, and I don't know what your children are like, but ours, a lot of that stuff won't come off.
Yeah, and no one reads it.
So I mean,
No one reads it
yeah.
anyway, but
So-
cloth is doing our bit that way.
Yeah, cloth's great.
And I mean, I'll be honest to say, for obvious reasons, I mean, I'm pro-cloth. I do.
And
Well, I
kids
think-
toilet train quicker, I reckon.
They do, because they
They
don't.
don't want to sit in it.
Well, I actually feel that. In fact, when I'm old and decrepit, I actually wouldn't mind sitting in one of those.
Yeah.
Compared to a molecule, I sort of
Yeah.
think, what feels nicer? I'd much rather sit in bamboo, I have to be honest.
It's pretty nice.
It does. I sort of think that's quite a good feeling. But I've lost my track of mind now. I'm thinking about cushy buns.
No, kids feel the wetness
Yes.
a bit better.
Yeah.
Whereas
So
disposable
No,
just
it's
takes it,
all
because that's the
away.
point, isn't it? They draw it away.
they draw it away. I'm not saying those don't. They do actually. And any nappies or like disposable cloth, if you leave them in it too long, they will only hold so much. But there's less. My brain has just sat down and gone away. Come back, please come back. Skin, so rashes and that, because there are a lot of chemicals involved, petroleum, etc., in disposable manufacture. A lot of kids are sensitive to those, not so much in the cloth, and cloth you can come completely away from anything. So those ones there do still involve some plastics. The PUL laminate on the inside of the fabric is still plastic. You can move to ones that use wool solely and completely come away from the microfleece, and so they are just a purely natural fibre nappy if your child is really super
That's
sensitive.
Dasana.
Yeah, I think it's,
They do a full just wool.
yeah, it's just cotton wool, and
Yeah.
I think it's got some bamboo in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other questions about those? No? So, that's it. So, lovely.
Thank you.
And yeah, yeah, so I think we've run a tiny bit over, so be free to run. But yeah, hop in anytime if you've got any questions about either. We are around.
Did you say you wash those?
These, yeah.